It's better to own a tiny percentage of something real than it is to own a big percentage or a giant stack of something that is worthless. Hello, folks, and welcome to Safely Snorting Bitcoin. In this episode, I want to talk about how to survive the coming digital dollar, the central bank digital currency that the president put in the executive order, pushing for urgent development of a digital dollar, as well as the regulation of Bitcoin and other cryptos. But in this one, folks, I want to talk about one of the things that costs crypto investors more money, more value, more wasted value than any other mistake. And it's also one of the most useful things for new people to know about. And that is the concept of unit bias and things like crypto vanity. If you're depending on how new you are to the cryptocurrency world, to Bitcoin, you may not be familiar with these terms, and different people may define them slightly differently in terms of how they relate to exactly what my take is on it here that you'll hear in this episode. But unit bias just simply refers to how psychology can change about thinking about how much of something a fraction is, depending on how many parts whole there are. It's very easy to deceive yourself, especially in the world of Bitcoin. But basically, unit bias, at its simplest form, would implicate that a person would prefer to own a whole of something or multiple wholes of something. They would much rather hold a lot of something, or at least a whole one, than they would a portion of something. I know that's a lot of rambling, but also think about it from a perspective of crypto vanity. People want to own a lot of whatever cryptos that they own. They want to be able to brag about it to their friends and family, to their colleagues, to their peers, and it is very humbling, and it is not very impressive to say that you own a tenth of a Bitcoin or something like that. At least it's not impressive now, because people are so lost, folks. People are so far away from the truth when it comes to where this is all headed. I'm glad that you've given this video the time of day. If you're enjoying the content, like and subscribe. This is a new channel and needs the support. But the worst enemy to newbies is this concept, this idea. It always seems to take 4 years to learn this. From what I can tell, many people in Bitcoin had a phase where they dabbled and put a little money into altcoins. Other people go way overboard and invest way too much money into them. But inevitably, after about 4 years, most people lose a lot of money doing that. And basically, even if they are Bitcoin proponents, or simply are using altcoins to try to gain ground on Bitcoin, like to get one of their smaller altcoin investments to triple, so that they can then dump that into Bitcoin and gain ground on having got in what they feel like is late to Bitcoin. But actually, that's the deception, folks. That's the deception. This is Bitcoin is a technology. It's almost irrelevant at what price you plug into it, as long as you do plug into it. These people that are flipping altcoins, or trying to flip other cryptos into Bitcoin, they're either getting a big tax bill. I mean, these are capital gains, and they're basically trading unregulated securities. Most of these people, most of these crypto influencers that you see, I don't believe they're paying taxes on any of it. You can believe what you want. But the point is, if you're flipping altcoins into Bitcoin and not paying taxes on it, I mean, do that at your own peril, and be aware that most people lose playing that game, because this market is gamed by trading bots and the crypto bros that have it pretty much guaranteed that they're going to control the market, folks. They've got bets on both sides. It's not as corrupt as the stock market. It's definitely more free market than that, but it's still gamed because it's still super early. So be very careful. It's very hard to flip cryptos into Bitcoin because every time your altcoin will tend to rally, Bitcoin will rally, and a lot of times will even outperform the altcoins. Of course, altcoins do tend to have bigger percentage gains in a bull market, but again, that it's just a battle you don't need to be fighting. It's better to own. I mean, keep in mind, folks, that cryptocurrencies, the altcoins, they basically are a symptom of a fiat mindset. This idea that's just like the dollar system, that the government can just print money ad nauseum as much as they want without having detrimental consequence. And if you look at how that mindset transmits into the altcoin space and the NFT space and all these other, this idea that you can just print value out of nothing. It's insane how this psychology plays into the crypto markets, and how the fact that the bankers have basically every crypto other than Bitcoin totally controlled at this point. And keep in mind that most cryptocurrencies fail. There's a giant list of thousands of dead coins. If you look at the top 10, right now the only two that ever stay in the top 10 are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Keep in mind a lot of the other altcoins are built on Ethereum, so they're built on a substandard protocol. It's just, keep in mind, folks, it's better to own a tiny percentage of something real than it is to own a big percentage or a giant stack of something that is worthless or built on a foundation of quicksand, like a lot of these altcoin projects are. I mean, folks, this value, this make-believe altcoin money that people make up, it just disappears when they pull the rug on a lot of these projects, or they set their goals so high that the ones that try to be legitimate, I mean, anything coming from that will just be eventually, if deemed necessary by the market, it will be integrated onto Bitcoin later. The Bitcoin is a new monetary system. It is not a technology. So that trap that you've fallen into, if you're one of these people supporting altcoin projects, you've fallen down the wrong corner of the rabbit hole into the dark side. The unsafe way that you snorted Bitcoin has led you to believe things that are not true. Bitcoin has a hard cap of 21 million coins, and that is enough for everyone. Because Bitcoin, when it works and achieves global adoption, which is absolutely inevitable due to game theory, that is a closed system. It is perfect digital scarcity, which has never been something that existed in human history before. And the implications of it are that that we can have a society based around a sound monetary policy, which is, if you look back in history, the periods of time where humanity has been at peace and the most prosperous, and that's actually what Bitcoin is about. It's not about getting rich quick. That happened to the early adopters, the super early adopters, because they were visionaries. Do your research. These people didn't just get lucky. Some of them did. But many of them didn't. They actually knew what this was, a decade before anyone else. And they deserved the price they got it at. And most of those people that got it super cheap lost almost all of it. Because they didn't fully understand it at the time either. People, listen. We don't know what Bitcoin is. Nobody does. We don't know the full implications of what it is. This is like trying to guess what the internet is in the early 90s. No one can see the forest for the trees here, folks. We're all looking at these cryptocurrencies. Everybody's up close, and they don't realize they're looking at the pets.com and the almost like the .com bubble where every business and every word had a website, and it was overkill. It wasn't necessary, and that's where we're at now here in this industry. History is not going to repeat itself, but it's going to rhyme. And most of these cryptocurrencies out there, really, I'm a firm believer that Bitcoin is the only one with a true value proposition, and that when it comes down to it, you hear a lot of talk about Web3 and Metaverse and all this stuff. That stuff's all fake, folks. Listen, Bitcoin is the next evolution of the internet. So if anything is worthy of the mantle of Web3, it is everything that Bitcoin enables. We can protect and we can verify identity on the internet using Bitcoin, using things built as layer 2 and layer 3 applications using Bitcoin, the network, not necessarily as a monetary asset, but the network, the blockchain, the ledger, the immutable, incorruptible, public, auditable ledger that everyone can see and no one can alter, and that there is thermodynamic energy. There is energy stored in it, invested in it to encrypt it in the most secure hashing algorithm imaginable. That makes it unhackable. Bitcoin has never had downtime. You ever stop to think about that? There's no CEO. There's no board of directors. No one is at central command. But yet, it's never had any downtime. The market values it, even in a huge. I mean, most people are calling this a bear market right now. I don't feel like it's a bear market. If I got in the last 6 months or a year, I would probably feel very differently. I've been in since 2018, and as I tell people, I'm a buyer of Bitcoin anywhere south of $100,000 because I believe it's going to at least $1 million in my lifetime. So sure, I will 10 to 15x my money any day of the week. Now, do I buy big amounts of Bitcoin? Of course not. You dollar cost average. You never invest more than you can afford to lose. And stay humble. Like I say, it's better to, just owning 1/10 of a Bitcoin or even just 0.01, 100th of a Bitcoin is a lot bigger deal than people realize. It's huge, folks. There's only 21 million coins. Get your calculator. Look at world population. Start doing some division. Look at if you split up that 21 million, keeping in mind 3 to 4 million of them are lost forever. And look at how much Bitcoin there is per person. If this works, which it is, because game theory, Bitcoin will achieve global adoption. In fact, we're already there. I'm not convinced it will ever collapse the dollar completely. I think I'm becoming a fan of this idea of the dollar, the U.S. dollar, and Bitcoin having a symbiotic relationship and coexisting into the future together. So, folks, this one got a little bit longer than normal. I'm going to cut this one off now, but I do want to remind you, if you enjoy the content, to like and subscribe. There is a perpetual Bitcoin giveaway going on this channel. All you got to do is follow me on Twitter, Bitcoin Safely, at Bitcoin Safely on Twitter. If you don't use Twitter, it's just subscribe here on the channel. And you can, to get into the giveaways, you can enter 2 ways. You can either comment here on any video with a comment with your Twitter handle is an entry. And if you just prefer to enter by email, you can email me at safelysnortingbitcoin@gmail.com. Folks, I will never approach you in the comment section asking you to contact me via WhatsApp or anything like that. I will never ask you for crypto, and I'm terrified that the scammer bots will eventually colonize my channel. For now, that doesn't seem to be a problem, but if it does in the future, we'll take care of it the best we can. With that said, folks, I am out of here, and until next time, this is Safely Snorting Bitcoin signing off.